Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. All right, everybody, let's take a look at the S&P 500. This is Sunday night, which is, I think, February 12th. Just got back from watching the Super Bowl with family. What a great game. Oh, my gosh. Here in the U.S., it's a pretty big deal. We watch the Super Bowl, football, American football. Very close game, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's talk about the S&P 500 here. And I'm also going to talk about a brand new uh, service for my members that I guarantee you're going to like this, guys. An awesome list of stocks, both in the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and in futures. Stick around for that. It's going to come up right after I do this, okay? But first, let's talk about the S&P 500. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, this is the 50-day moving average, this line right here, okay? And even though we're getting this nice dip, and it may be a bull flag, and it may not, okay? Here's my take on keep this very simple. I don't think you should short anything above this 50-day moving average, okay? If the market comes down, touches it, and does the old bouncy bounce, then great, just be patient. And trade this as I believe at some point this market's going to take off and go up, okay? But if it comes down, hits the 50 and goes below it, then we got a different scenario going on, right? So right now, for me personally, I like to do swing trading, but everybody's a little bit different. We got day traders, we got options traders, futures traders, whatever. Okay, for me personally, I'm being really cautious during this time as this cycle low that's forming right here. We're in the middle of this cycle low, right? That'd be this area right here, or this big X is. Okay, you can see the market's pulling down into that, right? It hasn't really pulled down strong, but nevertheless, we can definitely see for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, it's been pulling back here, right? Let's make this a little bit more obvious. Okay. So, but just to keep it super simple for everybody, it's still above the 50-day moving average, which is 39.85 right now. I wouldn't trade this short. I mean, it may come down more down into this cycle low, but it may not. So I would just be patient on this. There's definitely some divergence that was going on in here. Okay, we can see that the short-term indicators, okay, my Big Daddy indicator definitely had some divergence warnings going on. And guess what, guys and gals? It was exactly spot on, right? We had divergence happening back here. And sure enough, it was detecting that there was going to be a decline in the market, which basically was that divergence, what that means in this case, okay? Because that's what the Big Daddy is really good at. It's really good at predicting and forecasting peaks in the market and potential pullbacks. Okay, not just in the market, but in symbols, as you're going to see here really soon. Okay, it can be in any symbol. Okay, it's pretty good at that. All right, so that's my take on that. Just generally speaking, for the S&P 500, as we look at the market as a whole, because the 500 stocks make up the S&P 500. They're a decent representation of how the market's going to move, right? I know we got the Nasdaq, we got the Russell 2000, but this is pretty good, right? So I would just be patient. I wouldn't short this right now, and I wouldn't long this. The smart trader, in my experience, tells me just be patient. Wait for this thing to take off and prove to us it's going to go up, right? Meantime, it might pull back some more and touch this 50, then go up. It might stall around here a little bit longer, then go up. But if it comes down and just like busts through this, then we know we got a different scenario. Okay, so that's why I say just be a little patient. I wouldn't be in a hurry to trade the S&P 500 futures. Now that could be obviously you could be trading futures, you could be trading options against the futures, you could be trading the SPY, the options against SPY, whatever. Okay, the SPX options. There's a lot of ways you can do this, right? So in any case, I would be patient because I think it's really not a good time to trade the S&P 500. It's just time to be a little bit patient, wait to see what this thing's going to do. Okay, there could be more in this. It could come down here and get down into this area. We'll just we'll see what happens. All right. Now let me show you something that I just released tonight. All right. So I'm going to switch over to the Discord server. I'm going to show you something that I just implemented, and I know you're going to really like this. Check this out. Okay, so here we are on my Discord server. If you want to know the name of the server, there it is. Get a server. This is a members-only server. Okay, so if you jump on this server, you're not going to get access to any of the channels. The only channel you get access to is this general channel right here. Okay, and the only thing you'll be able to do in there is leave a comment. If you're not a member, I'm going to challenge you and say, hey, you know, fine, I see you on the Discord server. If you want access to the rest of all these other channels, which is where all the content really is, okay, you need to become a member. Okay. But at the end of this video, I'll talk about how you can become a member. But for right now, let's take a look at the symbols that I'm generating for the members. Okay. So let me go over to this. Where is it at here? Gotta roll down. There it is. Premium symbols. Here it is right. Premium symbols. Okay. So I've been working very diligent on this. That's the channel we're looking at right here. Premium symbols channel. Okay, that's everything in here. And just tonight for the members, I put in there S&P 500, all the stocks that make up the S&P 500, the ones that I have an algorithm that goes through. Okay, some of you know the Big Daddy indicator, and it's really good at picking out, divergence dots and all that. Well, I've finally got that logic put together so that I could use that same logic and run it through all the symbols, in this case for the S&P 500, and it generates a list of all the stocks that look like they could be shortable. Okay. Now some of these stocks may not be shortable. Some of them are. Some of them might have options. Okay. So there's some choices in there. Okay. There's a link right here. You click on the link. It's going to take you to the Dropbox link, and you can get the list. Now, some of you see this list in this video, and I'm sure you're going to go there and you're going to get it. That's fine. Go do your thing. But you're only, I'm not going to be making videos every day for the general public like this and giving away, members list, right? This is for members only. Okay. So you're getting a freebie today. All right. But you can see the same thing is applying to futures. Okay. For those that trade futures, there's some futures in here. I noticed today I looked at some of the futures here. There's like butter in there. I think soybeans showed up for some contracts out in 2023, further out in 2023, right? So that's really cool if you're trading futures, or you might trade the options on the futures. All right. Okay. And then lastly, of course, the Nasdaq. And I try to keep this list reasonable, right? It's going to be stocks that have like maybe 250K volume, okay, or higher. We don't want just cheesy old stocks in there, right? I think I have it at $1.50 or higher. Okay, so we're not going to be getting penny stocks in there, right? Otherwise, you get these crazy lists of, So, and we'll just keep improving on this list. I think right now is like 83 stocks in this list, if I remember right, for tonight. Okay. All right. So, well, how does this work? Well, the members, are going to be able to come on here. The members who pay to come on my server Monday through Friday, right? They're going to get a list every day, and I may keep a backlog in here for like a week at the most. All right. And they can pick the lists every day, and they can see what's on the list, and they get to choose for themselves. Okay. Because I give opinion, guys. I don't give financial advice. Okay. They can do their own due diligence. They can pick the symbols they want. They can go check it out and see which symbols make sense to them. They're for their account size, their maturity level as a trader, whether they want to short it straight up, which is not very common, but they could, instead of shorting stock straight up, they could use options perhaps. There's a lot of different ways you could do this, right? Okay, so this is something new that I put out for the members. This is a huge, huge leap forward for the members of, my service. Big, big leap forward. There's a lot of people have been asking me, hey, can we get the Big Daddy indicator? And I'm like, of course, I'm not going to hand out the logic for the Big Daddy indicator. So this is just as good. You're getting a list of all the S&P 500 stocks that qualify anyway, the NASDAQ stocks that qualify, and the futures that qualify, right? So there you go. All the members get that. All right, so I thought I'd share that. Let's take a look at just one or two of these stocks, okay, that I'm just going to pull out from the list, and we'll look at them and see, just do some of them make sense. Okay, because you got to still do your own due diligence, right? You still got to make sure that it makes sense to you to trade it. Just because it's on the list, doesn't mean you should blindly just short the stock, okay? Or try to use an options, like maybe buy puts or something, right? So let's go take a look at a couple of the symbols that were just released tonight, okay? All right, so here's just a text file. If you look at these links, they're all just text files, right? TXT. This way, for people who want to download them onto their mobile device, they can do that. For people who have, whatever, laptops or desktops, right? Text file can be pretty much downloaded to just about any device without any hassle. That's why I didn't make them Excel files or CSV files or anything like that, because some devices will just choke on it and they won't download. So I kept it super simple. You could download it as a text, okay? If you change this very last digit here from a 0 to a 1, It'll go from showing on your, like in a browser, to being downloadable. So that's how that works. All right, let's just go through this list. Let's take a look at this. This is S&P 500. You can see up here, this is the short list for February 12th, 2023. And it's saying that the logic, the algorithm is saying, hey, AMP may be a stock you want to look at to short. So let's go take a look. Does it make sense to short this stock? Okay, so here we are over on the chart, and we're looking at AMP, obviously, that we got from the list. And you know, what my members are probably going to do, it doesn't matter what platform they're on. I'm on the TD Ameritrade TOS platform, but you could be on TradingView, whatever platform you're on. Most of them have watch lists, and you could just grab all those symbols and stick them in your watch list for the day, okay? So, and then you could just set up your watch list and click through them and see which ones, just real quick as you fire through them on your clicking on your watch list like that, you can see which ones may make sense to you, right? So does this one make sense? Well, it kind of does. I can see the MACD looks like it wants to roll over. I see we had a recent high. It's kind of beginning to curl over here a little bit. Okay, obviously there was, looks like there was a dividend here, so you might want to definitely keep that in mind. But the short-term indicators like the SMI, the Stochastic Momentum Index, which is one I use, beginning to roll over. Here's that Big Daddy forecast I was talking about, my indicator, and sure enough, you got some divergence dots on there. Okay, so even though you don't have the logic for this indicator, you now get a list of the symbols, which is just as good, right? And you can decide, hey, do I want to short this? And you can go check to see if this has options too. I don't know if it does. Okay, it's an expensive stock, but it doesn't really matter. You know, the SPY is as expensive as that, because you can. I think this probably has options. Would be my guess. I don't know if it does or doesn't. Guys, you check it out for yourself. But if it has options, you could do that. Okay, if there's enough volume and it makes sense, and it isn't too thinly traded, maybe you can do an options play on this stock, okay? So just looking at this real quick without diving in too deep, I'm looking at this and saying, yeah, this looks like this may be a shortable opportunity. This stock makes sense. All the indicators are kind of elevated. They're beginning to curl over. Okay, I happen to know a lot about, well, recently I added this reverse engineering MACD, took out two of the lines and just left the two that made sense. When I start seeing a gap like this, guys, going on, that usually means that symbol, stock, futures, whatever it's going to be, has a decent chance of pulling back. So I like what I'm seeing here. Okay, just an example, right? They may not always be this good on the list, but this one looks pretty good to me. Let's do one more. All right, so here's Fifth Third Bancorp. All right, very similar to the last one. Very, very similar. It looks like the MACD wants to roll over. I got a Stochastic Momentum Index. Looks like it's beginning to have a rainfall. All right, I call this the waterfall. Actually, not rainfall, but the waterfall. Starting to get a little gap going on there between the lines. Of course, the Big Daddy's saying, hey, we got divergence going on. Okay. Yeah. I see a gap going on with the reverse engineer MACD. That tells me a lot. Okay. Certainty rate, we'll get into that. And I usually cover that in my S&P 500 video, but okay, that kind of comes into play. So yeah, so here's another stock to me that looks like a small position, shorting, might be worth it. Okay, let's do one more. I've been doing the S&P 500. Let's look at one or two. We'll do one on the NASDAQ, okay? I know a lot of people like to trade the NASDAQ. I haven't included the Russell 2000 yet, but I will pretty soon. That'll be included in the members list on that same channel. But let's go look at one for the NASDAQ. I'm sorry, this is a NASDAQ. Let's look at one more for the NASDAQ, sorry. It's interesting to put that there. Now, this one is not quite as strong, just because I can tell by the behavior of the short-term indicators that are going on here. I'd be a little more cautious about shorting this one, okay? Definitely a cheap stock. It may not probably, I'm not sure if it has options on it or not. I'm going to guess no, but I haven't checked. But considering it was down here at $1 recently, probably doesn't have options. So if you're going to short this, you have to short it straight up, and it may not even be shortable. So this, I'm just giving you an example of what you're going to find on the list, right? Some things may be shortable, some not. And the other thing you got to remember is, even if you do get a stock that's not quote unquote easy to short, that also is useful information, right? It tells you a lot about this, about contrarian perspective about a particular stock, right? Okay, but in any case, the reason I wouldn't short this one, yes, the MACD looks like it wants to roll over, but short-term indicators show that it's kind of already come down. It may be going back up here. Okay, so I'll be a little bit cautious about shorting this one. And that's why I say, you know, you don't want to just blindly grab a symbol off a list that I put out and just go short it, right? You want to be a little bit careful about it. Okay. And in the future, maybe I'll improve the list a little bit and make sure that if I can, that those stocks are shortable, either straight up shortable or shortable by options. Okay. And the ones that aren't, maybe we'll just make sure they don't get on the list. But for now, we're filtering this. I'm filtering this as good as I can for just right now. So just be aware that you still got to do your part. Okay, looking at this list, we saw someone there that looked really good on the S&P 500 list. That looked like they were pretty good position. You know, their behavior looked like it was ready to be shorted, and they probably were shortable through options as well. Okay, on the Nasdaq, okay, this one in particular, for me, I wouldn't touch it. Even if I found out it was shortable, I just wouldn't touch it. It doesn't look like it's ready to be short. It's just a little bit undetermined here, a little bit too much of a risk in my opinion to short this, even if it was. All right. So there you go. I'm just giving you some ideas of what's being put out there. Okay. I've upped my game, so to speak, for all the members. I was telling them that, hey, you know, I was going to increase the quality of service to them, that this was coming. Well, today's a day, and I'm happy to announce that for the members, and for those that are interested, I'll put up on the screen right now, $5.99 a month. Now, guys and gals, that's just crazy cheap. It's not going to stay that cheap, okay? But it's $5.99 for now. Okay, so what do you get for that? Well, you get a nightly email from me Monday through Thursday about the stock market, which is S&P 500. I give my opinion about that, okay? And I do it also on Sunday nights usually. You also get a screenshot of the S&P 500. I might put some notation on there. Right, that's included in the email. All right, you get access to the Discord server, which I showed you in this video, right, and all the different channels on there. And we have a good group of people on there. And now, in addition to that, Monday through Friday, you're going to get a list of the S&P 500 symbols, the NASDAQ symbols, and the future symbols. And I'll probably include the Russell 2000 in there as well, all in that premium symbol channel that all qualify using the Big Daddy logic, okay? And the indicator has picked out those symbols as possible shortable symbols. All right, it's huge. I mean, this is a huge upgrade in the service to the members, and for $5.99, that's just crazy cheap. It's so dirt cheap. The price is going to go up. Okay, it's going to happen because I'm just offering so much for $5.99. It's ridiculous at this point. But I'm going to keep that price right there for now, but probably not for much longer. All right. So take advantage of it while you can. All right. Hope everybody really enjoyed the video. That's it for now. Talk to you all real soon again next time.